Barbara, the Paleoista, and I'm here with Lydia, my daughter, and today we're going to be talking about her recent diagnosis. Yeah. Alright, so first I want to tell you a little bit about Lydia. Lydia!
Hello.
Alright, so this is my daughter Lydia. She's 15. I asked her the other day to give me some words to describe herself, and she described herself as anxious, creative, bookish, and a music lover. Sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. And I asked her, what motivates you? And she said, friends and family.
Yes.
I asked her what upsets her, and she said, loud noises and social injustice. And her interests and activities are art, sewing, cosplay, video games, YouTube, music, reading, cooking, baking, and gymnastics.
Yay. I'm sure there's more that I didn't even think of, but that's all.
Yeah, dancing's not even on here.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready to talk about your recent diagnosis?
Yes, I am.
All right. So, June the 28th, we went to the psychiatrist to get Lydia evaluated. And see, we first went to our pediatrician and talked to them, and they got us this appointment and everything. So that was step one of the process, just going and saying, hey, these are our concerns, and they're like, okay, we will, send you to someone who can evaluate. So when we went, we told them that Lydia was having trouble with sensitivities to light, loud noises,
and certain food textures.
Told them that she has trouble understanding tone of voice and body language, texture issues, poor eye contact, personal space issues, getting overwhelmed in groups, especially if they're very noisy, difficulty with keeping friends, fidgeting, preferring to be alone, preferring animals over people, repeating favorite lines from shows and videos and stuff like that. Difficulty understanding jokes, which is, a lifelong thing. Like, people would say stuff to her and she'd just be like, Lydia, that was a joke. It wasn't funny.
It's true, can confirm.
Alright, took her to the appointment, and they asked me about all the things that we had gone over with the pediatrician. And then they asked me some specific things, and I told them that when she was little, Lydia she had this teeny little voice. It was like listening to a fairy bell. I've had people say, your daughter sounds like a fairy. She just got this tinkly bell little voice. And most people couldn't understand her. I was seriously the only one who could, because I was around her all the time. And I could hear in her range. Like, most people just look at her and smile, and then they look at me and go, what does she say? And mostly what she said was, she would repeat what I would say, except she would say it strangely. Like, I would ask her if she wanted to check the mail, and she'd go, oh, check a mail, check a mail, check a mail, check a mail. And at 3 o'clock every day, it was check a mail. Like, her body just knew it was 3 o'clock. And so Sundays were terrible, because Sundays she'd say, check the mail. And
no like, post on Sundays.
No post on Sundays. And she'd just be like, So we'd have to go and check the mail even though there was no mail. Oh, if she needed help with anything, she'd say, "Buttons," because she couldn't button her own shirts and pants and stuff. So if she needed help with anything, she would say, "Buttons, my buttons," and that was, "I need help with this." Now this was when she was like 3 and 4 years old too. And then there was the one that gave me fits for probably a month or 2. So Lydia loved Kim Possible, and they had a character on there called Rufus, and he was a naked mole rat.
This is important.
So there would be days when Lydia would be like, "Mole rats," and I say, "What do you want, sweetie?" "Mole rats." "You want to watch Kim Possible?" Oh, sure." So I'd turn on Kim Possible, and then after it was over, she would go, "Mole rats." And I'd say, "Baby, Kim Possible's not on anymore. You want to watch it again?" "No, mole rats." And I'd just be like, "I don't know, sweetie. Do you want," because she had a Kim Possible doll. I'm like, "You want your Kim Possible doll?" "Uh-huh." And then she'd get it and she'd go, "Mole rats." And I'd be like, "Baby, I don't have a mole rat. You don't have a Rufus." And she'd just be like, "Oh, mole rats." So like I said, this was, you know, an almost daily thing. Not quite a daily thing, but an almost daily thing. So one day, Lydia was, she had had a really rough day, and all day long she'd be like, "Mole rats. Mole rats." And I'm just like, we've watched every Kim Possible episode we have. We've turned it on Disney all day. We've played with the doll, and nothing is getting this Mole Rats fix. And so I'm like, Ray comes home from work, and I'm like, we need to get out of here. We need to just go somewhere and do something. And he's like, well, we need to get some stuff from the store. And I'm like, okay. So we all jump in the car and we go to Walmart. And we get out of the car, and Lydia goes, "Mole rats!" And I'm like, "This is mole rats?" I'm like, oh my God. And then there was the time that she was 2. Now, I grew up with a story of how on the Christmas when I was 2, my mom was very excited because it was the first Christmas where I was gonna really know it was Christmas. And I woke up Christmas Day when I was 2 with pneumonia and was a very, very sick child. When Lydia turned 2, and it was her Christmas that she was going to be 2, I was very, very excited. And we made Christmas cookies and decorated the tree, and I'm explaining what's going to happen to her, and put the cookies out for Santa. And she goes, "My cookies?" And I said, "No, baby, those are Santa's cookies." And she's like, "Okay, my cookies." And I said, "No, baby, Santa's cookies." And she's like, "Okay." And so I explain it to her again, and I read her some stories, and I show her pictures of, you know, other people living out milking cookies for Santa. And she's like, "Okay." And then right before bed, she goes, "My cookies?" And I said, "No, baby, Santa's cookies. Santa's gonna come, and he's gonna leave you a bunch of presents, and he's gonna eat the cookies." Okay. So we go to bed, and we wake up the next day, and she goes running to the tree, and she goes, "My cookies!" And I'm like, "Santa ate them." And she's like, She was mad. She was very mad at Santa for eating her cookies.
I was 2 years old. I was 2 years old, and I wanted to fight Santa.
Like, this caused at least 10 minutes of ranting, raving, and crying, and she wouldn't even look at her presents.
I had a meltdown because somebody ate my cookies.
So, these are some of the stories that we talked about. We talked about having... Oh yeah. This is my favorite story about Lydia. We watched a lot of A&E when she was little.
A&E.
Arts and Entertainment. And they had on there a lot of interpretive dancing.
Oh boy.
So one day my mom comes to see us, and she's going to take us out, and we're going to have fun. And so my mom loves to sew, and we go to a fabric store. And we're wandering around and looking at stuff, and there's these two little girls in there. And Lydia goes up to them. She doesn't say hi. She does not say what's your name. She goes up to them and starts dancing. And I mean, like, the interpretive dancing. Like, the hands go up, the feet go out. And she is twirling. And then she goes down, puts her leg up in the air. And those two little girls were just like... and walked away. And she comes up to me, and I'm like, baby, they didn't want to be danced at.
Your moves were too fly. That's one of my favorite stories too, because it really says a lot about who I am as a person and how I try to make friends. I don't still do the dancing, but I try my darndest.
Well, Lydia also has trouble recognizing faces, especially people that she hasn't seen in a while. And so she said that when people come up to her and they know her and she doesn't know them, it freaks her out.
It really does.
And then we talked about Lydia's special interests, like cartoons and video games and YouTube channels and stuff. And we had some laugh moments because they put down Danny Fathom instead of Danny Phantom, and Five Nights of Freddy's instead of Five Nights at Freddy's. And then she talked about how she'll have, she likes to go out, she has fun going out, but after a few minutes she starts getting overwhelmed and tired and ready to go home.
The solution to that is headphones and sunglasses. Anywhere. You might look like a really mean person by wearing sunglasses indoors, but fluorescent lights will mess you up.
And how she has a hard time sleeping in a bed that's not her own. And talked about band camp and how...
Yikes. Okay.
She really enjoyed the experience.
I loved band camp, but just to put it into perspective, you've just had dinner and you're walking into your first class of band camp. Keep in mind, you're not that good at flute. Okay? So you get in, and people are warming up, and it is loud. It is so loud. It's like you can't even think in there. And then you sit with the other flutes. They are right in your ear, and they're doing trills and all sorts of stuff, reaching high notes you didn't even know existed, right in your ears. And you just start to cry. You start leaking from your eyeballs.
You can't even help it.
Because that's the only thing you know what to do to help this. And keep in mind, the flutes are right there at the band director. And the band director's a really nice guy. He's cool. But he gets up here and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Mm-mm."
Because at this point she can barely speak.
I can barely speak. So he...
You definitely can't explain.
Yeah. Because I didn't even know that I was an Aspie then.
And then we talked about like medical history. Lydia has some allergies and some problems that are associated with low muscle tone. Like she hurt her knee clogging.
And it still hurts to this day.
Yeah.
It was the day before my birthday too.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah.
Coordination problems sometimes. She did pretty good in dancing, and she does pretty good in gymnastics, but it was always like other people did better, and she had a hard time staying on the beat, and she had a... Lydia's always had to be reminded to, you know, shower and brush her teeth. And
if left to my own devices, I will eat a snack and just draw for hours.
yeah, she has to be reminded to eat.
I have to be reminded to drink water and put chapstick on.
Like she'll go, her lips will be so dry they're cracking, and she'll finally go, while her lip is bleeding down her face, maybe I should put on some chapstick. You think?
I've gotten a little better about that, but no.
Yeah, she has gotten a lot better this year. She has like a more set schedule, so she's going and taking a shower every morning, brushing her teeth every morning when she takes her shower, and that's working out real good. Let's see. She has issues with clothes. We've talked about that in the episode where we went thrift shopping. Yeah. She's always wanted to wear leggings and t-shirts. She did want to wear dresses when she was little, but we had to not allow that because
I wanted to dress like a lady, but I didn't want to sit like a lady.
Yeah, she would sit upside down and, like I said, dance and throw those legs up in the air, and so
I've taken more to the button up with jeans combo, but I have to wear leggings on under the jeans.
Lydia wants to get her driver's permit, but she's having a hard time understanding the information that she needs to know to get that. And so we're hoping to get her enrolled in an online class, and hopefully that's going to help her with that. And then talked a little bit about getting asked to leave the church that we were going to, and how that was very upsetting for the whole family.
That still really peeves me off.
Alright. And how, you know, she has, anytime she has a friend, she usually tends to, it's like they start out really good friends, and then that friend decides that she's not cool enough or popular enough or normal enough, and they start picking on her and want to be friends with people who are cooler or whatever. Yep. And then how when she gets upset, sometimes she'll hurt herself. She'll scratch the inside of her arms, not even realizing how much damage she's doing. And
I still have scars.
yeah.
Like, they're faded, but they're there. Got myself really bad here and here.
We also talked about her panic responses to certain stimuli, and how she, you know, does some repeated behaviors, repeated phrases, or, you know.
For example, the morning of my first evaluation, I kept repeating this one vine that I had watched the night before. The one with a cat named Starscream pounding its owner's fist, and then they both go to get tater tots.
Let's see, so this is what they said. Lydia was observed during the interview. She was listening to headphones when I greeted her, but took those off. She was wearing sunglasses and kept these on. She was also carrying a drawing pad and sketching. She greeted me and easily transitioned. She spoke in an odd voice quality of a childlike voice and somewhat staccato with limited flexion. She was articulate, she was attuned, and would make comments but often did not look up to make eye contact. Her emotional expression was flat. At one point, she became tearful when discussing things that make her anxious, and her mother comforted her during this time. Alright, so then a while after that first observation, we went for the behavioral observation with a different person. And so in that one, we were not present. They just had Lydia back there. It was supposed to last an hour, but it went for 2 hours.
Yeah, I kind of got tearful in there and we ran late.
Alright, so Lydia presented for testing as anxious and reserved with flat affect and moderate energy levels. She displayed intact speech and language and motor skills with an odd pencil grip. She was wearing headphones and sunglasses and described being sensitive to light and difficulty focusing on certain patterns. She was also sensitive to loud noises, and has difficulty filtering noises in a crowded or noisy environment. Lydia was allowed to wear sunglasses throughout testing except during the ADOS, which requires assessment of eye contact. She displayed good interest and effort, concentration and persistence, and responded in a reflective manner, although she made some careless math errors, such as subtracting when the sign was addition.
I don't even know how I made that error.
She at times was tearful when discussing family concerns, such as how her family was treated by their previous church, concerns with her brother's challenges, and feeling lonely. They did a multitude of tests. The first one that they put on here is the Wetzler Abbreviated Scale of Intelligence, 2nd edition. It's an intelligence screen. Lydia got a pretty average score on that. I know that because she's been homeschooled her whole life, they wanted to, kind of test where she was and everything. And then they did the Wetzler Individual Achievement Test, 3rd edition, abbreviated form, and she demonstrated a learning deficit in math. But we already knew that because we do homeschool, and Lydia's always had trouble in math. Always and forever.
Always and forever.
Alright, then they did the Adaptive Behavior Assessment System, 2nd edition. And this is to assess, things that people do, activities, things that they're able to do. And it has like an age-based score. And Lydia got functioning from the age of 5 years to 14.11. The 5 was social skills, and the 14.11 was domestic skills. The Autism Diagnostic Observation Schedule, 2nd edition, or the ADOS 2-3, was administered in so let's see. This is the actual one for autism. So, administered as a semi-structured assessment of social and communication skills and stereotyped and repetitive behaviors, and interest typically impaired in children on the autism spectrum. Lydia agreed with the clinician and was soft-spoken with flat to despondent affect and moderate energy level. Receptive and expressive language skills appeared intact. She reported sensory sensitivities. Lydia was able to request assistance. She was able to create an imaginary and novel story. She was able to act out steps of a familiar routine with narration, but poorly defined gestures. She was able to describe a complex picture. She was able to tell a sequential story with connecting phrases and understand the theme of the story. She was able to describe abstract cartoons, but did not consistently understand the abstract quality of the emotions, just humor lessons learned. Lydia had difficulty engaging in reciprocal conversation with limited facial expression and lack of eye contact and shifting topic of conversation. She did not take the lead in conversation or ask questions to reciprocate. Lydia was able to identify and express emotions.
About that one with the guessing theme of the book and the lessons learned, it didn't help that the tape they put over the words and title kind of showed through, and I hated to use it, but it was there and I couldn't get it out of my brain. I'm so
Lydia was able to describe how her body feels inside and how she reacts to emotions. Lydia reports having online friends and was able to describe abstract concepts of a friendship. However, she has related that she has difficulty sustaining friendships. She has suffered rejection, even teasing, when her friends have found other friends and have abandoned her. She acknowledges that she may be clingy with friends because she does not want to be alone. She sometimes feels lonely, like a storm cloud is hanging over her. Lydia has difficulty understanding humor. She is able to imitate a 6-step motor sequence and a verbal sequence, as well as simple and complex verbal sentences. She understood idioms. She was able to create a novel video game. So on the ADOS 2, Module 3, Lydia obtained a social affect total of 8 and restricted and repetitive behavior total of 0 for an overall total of 8. Her performance falls in the autism spectrum with a cutoff score of 7 and above. Alright, so then we were also given the Asperger syndrome diagnostic scale, and I'm sorry if you don't like the way I pronounce that, but it's just how it comes out. Because I think I'm saying it with a P, but I don't know if it sounds like a B to other people. Alright, so they gave us that to fill out, and we both gave her a score that yielded a quotient of 118, falling in the very likely probability of AS, with language, maladaptive, cognitive, and sensory motor domains being prominently elevated. Alright, then they gave her the Million Adolescent Clinical Inventory to assess emotional and behavioral patterns. And Lydia reveals a moderate elevation in anxious feelings and mild elevation in depressive affect. Alright, and then they did the Achenbach Child Behavior Checklist, which we filled out, and we said that we saw elevation across internalized behavior patterns, anxiety, depression, social problems, somatic problems, a mild elevation in affective problems, anxiety, social withdrawal, thought problems with mind wandering off, twitching, hoarding, and strange ideas.
Sounds about right.
But we were also asked to list 3 things that we thought of as being, you know, strong in Lydia, 3 good things that we see. And I put that Lydia is an amazing artist, is helpful around the house, loves her family, and cares about the world. I did 4.
What?
I did 4.
No.
Ray put that she is polite, helpful, and full of love and compassion. So then, summary and conclusion. All the stuff that we've said. Blah, blah, blah. Adaptively, Lydia shows significant weakness in social skills. Diagnostic assessment reveals a pattern of social and communication impairments and stereotyped and repetitive behavior and interests characteristic of autism spectrum disorder, specifically Asperger's. Lydia has difficulty engaging in reciprocal conversation with limited nonverbal communication, such as regulation of facial expression and eye contact. She has sensory sensitivities and difficulty being in social situations, and has a history of idiosyncratic speech. She also shows a pattern of generalized anxiety, social anxiety, fears, and some despondency that seem to be related to social difficulty and anxiety. It is encouraging that Lydia is artistic, compassionate with her family, and helpful. So, diagnostic impression, ASD/AS, generalized anxiety disorder, social phobia unspecified, math disorder, provisional, and sensory processing disorder. They recommended that we go back to our pediatrician and possibly get her on some medication. We'll see about that. Says Lydia will likely continue to respond well to an individualized homeschool curriculum. However, she is showing a weakness in math and may need specialized support in this area and or additional intervention. It is common for persons with autism to struggle in the area of mathematics. It will likely be important as she transitions to high school that she choose a career track that is less reliant on math skills with instruction and more functional math. And that's what we're doing. It is recommended that Lydia continue to have opportunity to socialize. So she might also benefit from counseling and to improve social awareness and provide coping strategies for decreasing in anxiety and feelings of responsibility toward others, and to address sensory needs and other challenges that relate to persons on the spectrum, and that she get vocational evaluation to determine her career interests, job readiness skills, and an appropriate career path. Alright, so this video is probably going to be very long, and that's okay, because I think because I think that this is important stuff.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about getting diagnosed, it might seem scary at first, but it won't be. And I mean, nobody likes that you are autistic. I will like you for them. Because I know how bad it feels.
Would you change it?
Would I change being autistic? No. I might have my own shortcomings and difficulties, but this is me. This is who I am.
Right? You wouldn't know how to be anybody else, would you? Alright, so that's it for this video. And make sure that you like, share, subscribe, comments down below. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And
if you want to watch me do some art that people claim I'm good at.
You don't claim that you are good at it.
Thank you. My channel is Crystal Coffee, and if you look that up, I'm the one with the pink coffee mug that's sleeping.
Well, hers is in yours is your channel.
Oh right, it's in the featured section.
Is in the featured section of my channel, so
Yay!
just look down there, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, check her out. She's awesome. She does speed paints and of her art. Some of the things that she's done for my thumbnails, and then some of the things that she just does because she enjoys it. And she usually, if you follow her on Twitter, she usually has a poll asking what you'd like to see next.
Yeah, you can vote on it.
Yep. So
I currently have one now, actually.
So definitely check her out, because she really is an amazing artist and just keeps getting better all the time. So this is Lydia, and I love her. So have a good day. We're going to try to have a good rest of our day, because this has been quite a long walk.
It has. My leggies hurt.
Bless your heart. Alright, so we'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Bye!
What are you playing? What is that? Mermaid and a girl? Okay. Are you having fun?
Police getting you? She was articulate. I'm not. Very windy out here. Alright.
Burp, burp. Burp, burp. That's fun.